comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me this week and every week is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Hello. Well, speaking of kind of going against knowing nothing about game design, or potentially, I have a bit of a pitch this week for something that a game that I wanted to discuss and brainstorm a little.
Okay. This is news to me. It's not as though you messaged me earlier today and said, this is the idea that I've got. No.
Shh, Trevor, don't give away the behind the scenes. Yeah, we did talk about it a little, but we haven't gone into super detail, and I feel like we can throw some stuff at it and really throw it around. So, funnily enough, this actually comes from I finally got around to starting to watch Peacemaker. Mm-hmm. Very funny show. And what struck me as an idea was essentially a deduction style game. Mm-hmm. In the vein of Return of the Obra Dinn or the Roottrees are Dead, some of those style things, where you are essentially attempting to deduce details about superheroes and supervillains. I think with the key detail probably being like their secret identity, right? Like you are trying to figure out who these people are. And I just thought that idea was ripe for that sort of deduction.
Yep.
Kind of game.
What I like about that idea is it sort of gives it out there like you're an investigative journalist or something like that, and you're literally trying to figure out, there's all of a sudden there's all these superheroes and supervillains everywhere.
Yep.
It's like it's as if they came out of nowhere and no one's talking about it. They're just like, oh my God, they're just here. Kind of a bit like The Boys or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Where I was definitely liking the idea of sort of the end goal almost being actually like tracking it backwards to, okay, who was the first one? Like who got exposed to whatever this is first? Like what is causing this, but doing that by, figuring out, almost building up also a timeline of who came onto the scene when, and then mapping that to, their secret identities, and then what happened to those people, those like actual people, and whether it just comes down to, oh, hang on, there was a news report 3 years ago about a meteor that hit this particular farm, and
it's in this little periodical, and then, you can actually find out, oh, that was written by this person. I've seen their name somewhere else, and it's like it's a more fancy name, and they're working for a bigger paper now. But it's like, if this person was writing for this paper back here, and they wrote about the same superhero, what's the bet that they actually like?
Yeah, actually, I like. Oh, and I mean, this is what's so fun about it, is because you can have so many little Easter eggs, and because of course you just make up superheroes and villains. Do a similar number to Roottrees, maybe, where you've got like 50 people.
You got the easy ones to get, which they're out there, they're proud, they're in all the papers, but there's also, the clues are already there, and
the clues are there. Yeah. Like they're pretty sloppy. But then, you really have to dig deeper to get some of the other ones.
I just like the idea that, some of these ones have teamed up against all the villains. So
that was the other thing as well. I was thinking one of the things that you have to, potentially either that you have to figure out, or it could be maybe the framing device, because that's the sort of thing that would be publicized, is, this is like, the Super Six or whatever. And that, because it's everywhere, the Super Six are, Biono Man, Dinosaur Boy, whatever, like that, you come up with, who their superhero versions are. And
Peter
that's
Bread.
A connection.
Yeah.
Peter Bread, yeah. And his sidekick, the Stale situation.
Kurt Bastardson is a Supervillain. Yep.
Yeah. And so, you might have some that are unaffiliated, and maybe that's just their own group, like independent superheroes and villains, but then you've got these teams, and that could be a way to sort of group them together in certain ways. And, these two people were seen together and they're part of the same like, you know, I think maybe they're these two heroes who are part of the same team or whatever. So, I mean, one of the things I wanted to brainstorm is like interface wise, you know, how you do this. Like, obviously, Obra Dinn was, you know, it's this first person. You're going around, you're seeing these little vignettes or, you know, still frames of moments and sort of searching your way through that. And there's, you know, a lot of, you're right there. I think this is probably closer then to Roottrees though, which is, you know, you're searching on the internet for documents and things and you get a little bit of information from other stuff.
I like the idea of it's at a library that you're doing this, like you're doing this stuff. So you got access to like a digital microfiche.
Okay.
You've got access to some of the original periodicals in like the binder collections.
Oh yeah.
So if you need to find the physical thing, you can actually go and find, someone's taken the photo out of this. So I don't actually have a printout of this right now. And
that would be interesting to find stuff that's missing. Like you also, to find the holes in the info you have and be, oh shit, like someone's trying to cover this up.
And Victorian knowledge comes across and is like, what's going on? You
Stamps you in the forehead because you haven't returned
the periodicals.
17 of, yeah.
She goes, did you steal that? And she stamps you in the head and she walks away with a 5 o'clock shadow. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I really liked the idea of is like, you hack into like medical records and stuff too. Like I think, and maybe like government databases, like change of name records and that sort of thing. Obviously I think the challenge there would be
some sort of Wayback Machine.
Well, yeah. But I think like, how do you, having enough non-interesting records visible there. I mean, I think what you'd probably do is, again, similar to Roottrees, you have to know the term to search for. Otherwise, you just get essentially like either 0 results or too many results and you just see a randomly generated bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you know to search for this particular full name and you search the you know, change of names, it's like, they changed their name from this, you know, this other name in this town, and it was this town. Like you get that little bit more information there. Oh,
his original name was Peter Roll, and now it's Peter Brett.
Exactly. That's significant.
So what I was thinking on the way home, because I was thinking about this quite
mulling it over, going,
hidden throughout all of this, there's a secret supervillain who's actually like overseeing it all, and I'm like, are you the supervillain? Like,
right.
And that's actually why you're just trying to see what is actually out there. You're picking up everyone else's things and making sure that, I'm fine. And that's sort of like the thing for.
I do like the idea of not telling the player their true motive, essentially.
Yeah.
And like having, you know, you're searching for the source of this thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not that you're a supervillain now. Maybe you want to be a supervillain or something. Like you're trying to figure out, how do I get access to these powers? And you want you want to get it from the source, because again, maybe part of this is even making like degrees of separation. Maybe there's some way that these powers spread, but if they're, you know, 2 or 3 degrees of separation away, they're not as powerful. And so you're kind of gauging power levels of all of these people as well, based on their exploits and what you know about their powers.
I like the idea of there's references to the source and SAUCE. So it's like, there's just faded references here, there, and everywhere. Like, kind of like, you know, when someone's on steroids, it's juicing, and it's like,
okay.
In this case, it's like
from those people in the know. Yeah,
it turns out they got it from the source. And some people call it SOURCE, but in reality, they got it so very close, but they used the wrong source.
Well, this is the thing. And I mean, writing this would be incredibly difficult. And I do actually want to attempt this after sometime in the future. We've got another game project going right now.
We've got so many game projects going.
I know. But we've got a serious one going right now because we're working with someone else on it. But the writing of this, I feel like there are so many things you could do, because I kind of like the idea that you talked about the source. You think it's some extraterrestrial thing, like that's what everyone's speculating about. It literally is some corporation that made a source that, like a bad batch
of barbecue
sauce. And then it
turns out that they tapped some primordial ooze, and it dripped in there, and just the herbs and spices, brought out the flavor. Being the powers.
Yes. But the way that you could reveal that over time, and to have that, be that thread running through, and even that, depending on how long it's been, I'm picturing like 15 years or something. Like, I think it's been,
in
it's
your
been going
lifetime
on for a while, but it's within your lifetime. It's not like generations.
Yeah.
But there's enough time has passed that I think people now do call it the source, SOURCE.
Yeah.
Because they're literally just talking about, the source of where these powers came from.
Yeah.
But you sort of, as you go back, you realize, first you think it's just a typo or whatever, but as you find more and more people talking about it from old chat logs or whatever, it's like, wait, they're actually talking about a source.
Yeah.
Like a barbecue sauce that gave them these powers.
I like the idea that there's like the six that you were talking about before. They were all from the same town, and there's a picture of them like at a factory as kids or something like that. And they all happen to taste the sauce at this like at this I don't know.
Willy Wonka-esque.
Even the barbecue
factory tour.
even like a barbecue thing where it's like they were all just family members of other people who worked there, and like they just happened to have their photo taken with this this sauce bottle or whatever on their sausages, and they're all about to take a bite. But
it's like a promotional thing. And then they realized that the batch was bad. They destroyed most of them, but like bottles have been, on the black market, and different things for the past 15 years have been floating around, and that's where people, are getting their powers or something.
I mean, it's got to end with an eBay like listing and a notification coming up on your computer going, just listed 1 bottle of X.
Right.
X company sauce.
And you click buy now. and that ends the game.
Yeah.
Like cut to black as you click buy now, instant cut to black.
I like that. I really do. I just
there's so much there.
I was just joking about, the idea of the source of the power, but then I'm like, it actually makes sense to
it's a fun thing, and that would work well in that sort of game, because I think what I like so much about these types of games is like how natural it feels then to make these connections, and you're not even really telling the player, hey, you've made a connection, right? It's all in the player. It's all through what the player has just read and what's in their head. And of course you have some actual logical linking behind the scenes. I was looking into, because I'm going to replay these games when we actually, if we try to build this, but both Obra Dinn and Roottrees have the concept of, you've seen, Obra Dinn, I think, says, you have enough information essentially to be able to figure out what this person is based on what you've seen. And Roottrees has almost the inverse of, these documents have stuff you haven't found yet, basically.
Yep. Combining those two things would be kind of cool.
I think just having those links of, to find out this, basically creating chains of documents or files or knowledge that the player, may or may not have unlocked to every sort of piece of data about a superhero. I think really where the game design challenge will come from this, and I briefly sort of mentioned this to you off air, is there are so many different factors that would be fun to find out and kind of have to discover about superheroes. There's, you might start with their picture, but some might be, you don't even have a picture of them or whatever. Their superhero name, the team that they're in, their powers, the strength of their powers, their secret identity, like when they first came onto the scene. And I mean, a lot of this stuff could be almost not the stuff that you have to discover and lock in that way that Obra Dinn and Roottrees do, but you'd have to figure out what those things were. Are you just looking for secret identities?
Well, because maybe something that you like, if you add all these things of this person started at this time and their powers back then were this, and then they've grown to this, you can actually sort of see, okay, what happened in between. And you can almost do like there can only be one Highlander sort of thing of as these superheroes defeat other supervillains, they take on some powers.
Oh, they take on some of the powers. Oh, that's interesting.
I know that could be kind of fun just to go, okay, they now are showing that they have, X number of powers, but that was a power that only this superhero over here had. This superhero defeated that superhero. That's...
Again, a lot of it would just come from, before you start writing any documents or even coming up with any superheroes, would be figuring out, okay, how do powers work? Where do they come from? Where did they come from? How long has it been? And then just start building up sort of these interconnecting stories and these different superheroes and supervillains and figuring out what their origin stories are basically. And then coming up with, okay, and then how do we provide enough documents in a interesting enough chain of unlocking to really make it this deductive power of elimination sort of thing.
I do like the idea of, depending on the people and all this sort of stuff, it's like, oh, this guy here used to be a supervillain, then became a superhero at this time. Are they still actually a supervillain, in disguise? They're now doing that, but maybe by defeating one of the superheroes, they got a power that basically meant that they had to do good.
I think one way to do this that could be interesting is if you only have, you could potentially narrow it down to the thing you have to lock in is the secret identity, the name of the secret identity of each of these people. And as you find out information, the dossiers are actually filled out automatically. Yeah. It's like, oh, you unlock this newspaper article from 10 years ago talking about fucking, Peppermint Man with his powers of freezing breath. And he was
that makes sense.
That's what I mean. He was affiliated with such and such, and he defeated whatever. You go back to the dossier, and it's got some of that information in there with citations to that, linking back to that document. And maybe you have to click on it or something in the document. Maybe you do a bit of this is a key part. This is a key part. But so it's all of that is kind of just.
I like the idea that you get to sort of select the bit of text that you want to actually highlight so that you can actually potentially make some mistakes. And depending on what you've actually put in, there's, for the certain sections, if it's something that you can actually add to someone, it'll allow you to add it, but there's a system that can actually tell you you've got X number of things wrong on this dossier. Or dubious.
Interesting.
Or something like that.
Or, not exact. Yeah. Yeah. There's a few different ways you can do that. I mean, obviously, Roottrees just had note pages and you could link to documents in there, which was very handy, but it didn't essentially flow into the system itself. That didn't unlock it. It was just a tool. But I think if we did have a lot of complex information in there, like especially if we were doing like, was seen to have these powers from like these years to these years, and then this power from this year, like you'd need really to be able to link back to that and have it in sort of a common format. But I think that would be okay. I think just sort of, it would be satisfying to like, I found a new document because I figured out a search term or whatever. What in here can I add to my dossiers? And even if it's just clicking on it and getting a little like sound of the, pen scratching, and then you can click through to that dossier and see, now I've got in there that they fought such and such on this date. Because then, like actually making the deductive leaps then for the secret identities comes down to, all right, I've got all this information. What can I find to then track that down to?
Having them even as little hyperlink sort of things where it's like you click on them and it adds it to the dossier, like would definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. That sort of thing.
Because that really worked well, I thought, when we did that for the first Grant Gravy game.
Yeah. For Open and Shut. Absolutely. Yeah. That was a similar sort of thing where it forces you to read it. It forces you to understand. It gives you a bit more context then, because if you click this and then you see a little thing of like, fight record added to dossier 4. You sort of know what you've added. And then again, having those backlinks, almost Wikipedia-esque, just little citation things, right? Of 1, 2, 3 different documents that referenced their powers or whatever.
I like that. You could even do a very Roottrees mania sort of thing of like, since, your investigative reporting into the source, all these new superheroes have come out and now you've got,
I mean, that's it. There's room for another phase essentially. I mean, and I think even within the first phase, like you said, the idea of someone switching between supervillain and superhero, or just being ambiguous, or what I had in mind,
or that
literally one person being multiple superheroes. Yeah. Like you end up having to give the same secret identity for 2 different superheroes, or a superhero and a supervillain. Like, you could have a whole story there that you're unraveling. It's like, like that could be a really interesting aha moment where, up until that point, the player's gone like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, over here, there's a name for this, and over like, but then actually realizing and finding a connection of like, oh shit, like the timeline lines up. They are both of these people. Yeah, that would be really cool, that sort of thing.
And they said, said that they fought each other, but.
Yeah, but there's no like footage of it or no eyewitnesses or whatever. It's only like press releases from
but the superhero version has super speed, so they could have been switching really quickly.
yes. I love that, and you could play with so many just goofy like powers.
See, that is where you want to have it, that the video actually plays and you see them fighting against each other. But if you go frame by frame, you actually notice that they're like one on this side, they're one on this side, they're one on this side, they're one on this side.
So, I mean, that's interesting. So to talk about this in a sort of realistic fashion and thinking about scope, like if you and I were to build this, not for, I think it's too big for a jam, obviously, but like if we were to build it, not having the art skills and the asset building skills, I wonder if you could do this mostly just with documents and not even pictures particularly. Like maybe you don't have pictures of each of these superheroes. You just have, it could be a more old fashioned computer system even of, data entry sort of thing. Obviously you still need to be able to click around and stuff. So maybe like a Windows 3.1 or something. Sort of style, but
as long as you can drag those windows around and resize them, that's good enough for me.
But yeah, like just the data, like to make this actually doable, I think even just doing the data and having a good writer on it then could work really well. And if if we build this and get lucky, then fucking Evil Trout will come make the premium version for us and with us.
Oh god,
like they did with Roottrees
and Type Help
and Type Help, which I'm looking forward to.
Oh my god, I've been thinking a lot about Type Help lately. I remember going into that game thinking, all I've got is just a cursor. Like, you open the game, it has got nothing there. It's just got a blinking cursor.
Oh yeah,
and then you think,
the
name of the game is Type Help. Okay, help, and it gives you,
and that kicks it off.
And
it's
like,
that's so brilliant.
That to me, like, I want to go back and play it again, but I'm like, no, I don't remember enough. I'm going to go back
save it for. I think it's the incident Galley House.
Yeah, Galley House.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. That's the thing, though. That really does go to show, like, you can do it with just text.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need the graphics and stuff. Like, you could, you do it a bit, like I said, do it a bit more advanced than just a text, input, and do the whole, Windows 3.1 and stuff.
I will never forget you.
But,
we were going through a bunch of those. We were going through a bunch of those games all at the same time. Like, there was one that I told you about that you didn't know what each person was doing, and you were reconstructing the memories and all this sort of stuff. I don't remember what that was called.
Yeah,
but that was really cool.
It's got a weird name.
Yeah.
Of like 5 different words or something.
But I still remember you told me, check out Type Help. It's very similar to Roottrees. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, there's no sound. I'm going to give this literally like 5 minutes. Like 3.5, 4 hours later, I finished the game and I'm like, where'd all that time go? Like, I couldn't put it down.
Yeah, it's very good. No case should remain unsolved.
No case should remain unsolved. That was really cool as well. You didn't know what each person was, who each person was to each other.
Yeah, what was great about that one is that that one's all about, you get these snippets of conversation essentially, but you don't know who said them, and you're sort of unlocking new characters almost and trying to figure out, oh, wait, does it make sense that this person said that thing? And then you get some nice little linkages of when you put them in the timeline.
Order. Yeah. How cool was that when you linked one and it's like it linked all the things together and it had this beautiful animation sort of thing. It's like, yeah. And it would only link if it was on the right person. So, I've got this on the right person. It's in the right time. And therefore, all this stuff's actually happening. And
that's actually one of the other sections sort of that we didn't talk about, especially with the superhero game, is the different ways of confirming to the player then that they've got something right and that they're progressing. Because obviously if you've just got this massive information in front of you, you can't actually, you never know, you could put through 1 billion permutations and not know. But I mean, both Obra Dinn and Roottrees do it in a pretty similar way, which is essentially if you get 3 or 4 correct, then you get a little section. You might unlock some more information, and it tells you, those ones were right.
Your character being an investigative reporter can go, yes, this makes sense, and go, I'm going to lock this in because
it could just be that.
I can still put more information in, but I'm 100% convinced
these identities are correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing. You don't really need Obra Dinn didn't have any in-universe reason essentially for, why when you get those 3 correct, it, from what I recall, it's been a while since I played it, but, and same with Roottrees, really, there was sort of hey, you need to unlock 4 more now to get to the next thing. So I think that would just be playing around with it. If we're just doing secret identities, then I think you'd do something probably similar. One thing I did think of, if you were doing that, you had to enter a bunch of information per dossier, that you could almost have a like, I don't know, even if you did it like a fake like AI cross check or something or whatever, and it says, oh yeah, you've got 3 out of 7 right, but it doesn't tell you which ones.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting exploration there, I think, of the confirmation, almost a bit of a like a mastermind thing, or a Wordle sort of situation of.
Yeah, I do like the idea of it being an AI, but it's sort of like, this is part of your job that before you can lock any information into a story, it has to go through this.
Yeah, or you do some sort of technobabble like logical analyzer sort of thing, and it says,
citation checker.
This is 66.6% logically, correct or something based on, our models. And what that means is you've got 2/3 of the stuff is correct. You don't know which 2/3. And so you can do a trial and error sort of thing. They change one thing and check it again. And now it says, 62. It's like, okay, well, that one was right. But, maybe you gatekeep how many times they can do that, or, there's some interesting things there, I think.
Again, what I loved about when we were doing the Jam 97 game, that whole idea of when you've got everything in and it's wrong, and you're having to pull things out and change it around, it only tells you if you got 2 or fewer answers.
Well, that's it. That's the very, very case of the Golden Idol. Then kind of pioneered that method. But yeah, this would almost be similar, right? Yeah. And if there are enough different types of information, I think sort of saying, 6 out of 7 correct. It's like, oh shit, which one of these is wrong? I'm close. But still not knowing for sure. And it's still then a little bit tedious to, like, it's not necessarily, they're not necessarily multiple choice, right?
Yeah.
Like you might have got the last name, if we did for secret identities, a similar thing to Roottrees where you've got 50 first names and 60 last names to choose from.
Yeah.
If it's saying that it's wrong, like you can't just necessarily go through every combination there to get it right.
And that was Roottree Mania, because Roottrees are dead had.
That was just text entry, wasn't it?
No, it was. It was. You had the surname, comma, first name,
but you just typed it.
No, you selected from a list, but
you did select it.
But in Roottrees Mania, you had surname and first name separate, so that you had to match the two.
Right.
Whereas,
sorry, you're saying that in the first Roottrees it was just a name.
You had a name and a surname together, so you knew,
as one
you
option.
Knew how many,
but it was multiple choice. Yeah, right. Because you essentially know all the people involved.
You knew how many Roottrees, and there was 17
right.
Roottrees, and it had first names for each one of them.
Yeah.
What I like about the way that actually happens by having to select names and not having to type it in. Gives that feel of, oh, I've seen a name. Okay, that name comes from this town. This superhero keeps on going back to this town. Like it's been cited in this town so many times. Okay, potentially it's a Paul. Like
right, yeah, exactly. Like having that. That's it. Like you're finding the gaps in your knowledge, and you could even do things like. For any name you come across, you can create a dossier on them, essentially. Like you might have a superhero dossier over here, and then over here you've got a dossier for someone called, blank Sinclair who was in this town, like just has a few little bits of data. But once you find out enough, you essentially can merge them and say, oh, wait, this is that person.
Yep.
And you've made that connection.
I really like that.
I was, I thought of it last night. I was up. I was definitely dreaming about it. I just think there's so much potential there.
We just did a whole podcast episode.
We just did a whole podcast episode on that one game. I'm really looking forward to potentially building it in maybe like 3 to 6 months time when we get done with other stuff.
The good thing is it's all written down now, or at least all.
Well, we have it recorded. That's
recorded.
it. We can come back to this episode and all our brainstorming. Yeah, but that, as you said, that was the whole episode. So we're gonna leave it there for tonight.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see our previous episodes or listen to them online, they're usually a little bit different than this. Random word generators and such. But you can go to bitstormcast.com or anywhere else that you find podcasts.
If you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure by the band Kuradust. You can find it online at kuradust.bandcamp.com. Get it for free. There's some other albums on there as well. There's lots of cool tracks in there. So don't just check out that one. Check out some of the other ones.
For sure. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I know your secret identity.
Which one? Dun dun dun.